Hello, my name is Casey Hansford, and I'm going to be doing my presentation on Jackie Robinson. Sorry about this layout I have. Every time I put it in big screen, all the pictures go away, so my fault. So first, I'm going to go over a brief introduction on who Jackie Robinson is and the impact that he did. So Jackie Robinson, he was born in January 31st in 1919, and he died October 24th of 1972. Um, he was actually the first Black baseball player to join the Major League Baseball team in April 15th of 1947, and he played for Dodgers at the age of 28. Baseball was segregated in 1889, so he was the first Black person to play um, professional baseball after that segregation. And in 1949, he became named one of the most valuable players of the year, which is really like was just really big deal at the time, especially for being the Black African American. So now I'm going to do the reason on why I chose Jackie Robinson. I chose Jackie Robinson due to the amount of courage he had to become the first Black baseball player at a time of segregation. During that time, there's the Jim Crow laws. There's people that didn't want Black and white together, much less them to be playing in a sport that's predominantly dominated by white Americans. So it just took a lot of courage and just like a lot of mental strength for him to stand up for himself in that time. And even though he got a lot of pushback from either people that were the same skin tone as him or others, on the other side, like white Americans, he still chose to carry out and become one of the most influential Black baseball players till this time. And I also chose him due to the powerful impact that he had challenging racial barriers both before and after retirement. So before he joined the Major League Baseball team, he was first a part of the military. And in the military, he still stood up for his race, still challenged segregation laws, he not segregation laws, but segregation. He still challenged people being racist against him and his people. And it's during that, and then after that, he joined the Negro Baseball League, and he was still a strong competitor in that. And after retirement, he still went on to become an influential civil rights activist. So it wasn't just during his entire baseball league era that he was standing up for his people and challenging all these racial boundaries that they had at this time. Even after and before this, he was really impactful to the Black community. And I just thought that was a nice aspect of him. So this is a contribution that he did to um, African American history. Like I said, he broke racial boundaries for Black Americans to play and join the Major League Baseball, for being the first person to join this league. While it was many years later where the second person joined, he still broke that initial boundary and made it okay in some people's eyes that Black people were able to enjoy spoken play alongside of white people. He became the first baseball player in general to be on the postage stamp. And while that's a big deal for any person, being a black person, that's a very big deal for being the first person in general of baseball to be on a postage stamp. And he became the first Black American to be inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Huge deal in himself, like I said. So that's a major contribution and a major impact to the Black community as a whole. Here's some major points. Uh, Jim Crow laws prevented Jackie from staying in the same hotel as his teammates. So I just mentioned that to show that while he was somewhat accepted onto the team and played alongside of his white teammates, he wasn't looked at as the same, even even though he was playing the same exact sport and everything, he was looked at the same as people around him, and you still had to abide by the segregation and Jim Crow's laws set during that time. Um, Second, while many players were hurt due to the war, close to all the Major League Baseball teams would not allow Black people to play on their team. So it was for the recruitment for Major League teams during this war. A lot of people at that time were very hurt, and there was not a widespread of people to choose from. Yet people wasn't would still wouldn't allow Black people to play on their team. Um, After retirement, like I said, after retirement, he became a civil rights activist, and he was a strong civil rights activist until the day he died. And he was in the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962, which is his first year of eligibility. Eligibility. Um, Before he was a part of the baseball team, he was in the army and he was court-martialed due to his objections of racial segregation. So, like I said before, and why he's so impactful to the Black community, um, even though he while he was in the army, he stood up for himself, and he was actually honorably discharged um, for just standing up for his race and standing up for just equality and the things that he believed in. The impaction of this little report that I did on him, it has impacted me by educating me on his history of his history and the history of segregation and his motivation. Um, if Jackie did not take the courageous steps and be uncomfortable in that situation, who knew when segregation would be abolished in Major League Baseball? First, I want to touch on how it educated me of his history and the history of segregation. While like, of course, I know Jim Crow laws and stuff. It didn't click to me that Jackie Robinson also had to abide um, by these rules, and the fact that he was put in such an uncomfortable position, especially as being a Black man, he still was courageous and still took upon himself to play the sport that he loves and show Black people that we could play a sport alongside of a white man, even though we're not particularly welcome due to our skin tone and due to our background. And like I said, who if he didn't take that courageous step in the forefront, who knew when the segregation in the baseball league will be abolished? And this research also educated me on the impact Jackie Robinson had outside of the baseball field. Before this research, I didn't know he was a civil rights activist, nor did I know that I didn't even know that he joined the military. So after that, I felt like I'm really educated of the impact that he had of the Black community, and I really appreciate that of his efforts. So yeah, that was my project. Hope you had fun watching it and you have a nice day.